All right, the verdict is in, and Octave is Boi-1da's favorite plugin. Let's go. Now, I can't guarantee that after today's video you'll have that iconic Boi-1da bounce, but one thing that I can guarantee, and yes, I will say this with my chest,
play it with your chest, bro,
that one of you will walk away with Octave for free. Today I'll show you how to make a Boi-1da type beat with the sounds inside of Octave. I'll show you some of those sounds, and I'll actually show you the same preset that was used in Range Brothers by Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar. Plus, like I just mentioned, we'll give away one free copy of Octave to a lucky producer. It's one of those beats that make you go, that's hard. So that sound right there, that's the Range Brother preset off of Baby Keem's last album with Kendrick Lamar. Shouts out to Jahan and Baby Keem for producing that. I don't know which one of them found this sound, but I know that Jahan's a big fan of Octave, so I really appreciate the support. So there you go. If you want the preset from Range Brothers, it is in our guitar expansion pack. It is called Backwards. I did that with my homie Harag, and I'm definitely going to do a tutorial in the next coming weeks, try and recreate the beat, see if I can do it justice with some of these sounds inside of Octave, and let you guys into the process. So for the beat today, one of my favorite beats that Boi-1da did, he also did it with vinyls actually. It's the shimmy beat that they did for Amine, so I'm going to try and do something very similar, and I'll show you what I did to kind of create that sound. I'm not going to play the song because it's probably going to get a strike, but one of the first things that I did in listening to the record, which I usually do, is I listen to the record and then try and decode all the sounds and stuff. Even if it's a sample, you can listen and kind of figure out, okay, was there organ, strings, you know, the vocals, and kind of what time period, so you can kind of shape the sound with the EQs. So one of the first sounds that I grabbed to kind of recreate what I was hearing in shimmy was this amazing violin by Aaron Paris. Woozy. We had it kind of vibrato away, so you get that kind of wooziness. And one of the beautiful things about Octave is you actually have a vinyl depth and vinyl modulation here. So if you wanted to make that sound even more wobbly and vintage, you could actually turn this up. I mean, you could get it to go pretty crazy, really give it that old kind of vinyl feel, which it sounds like the record came from like the 70s, so this kind of emulates that. I mentioned his name a couple times already, but big shouts out to Aaron Paris. He was just on Donda 2 sci-fi track with Sean Leon. He's an amazing producer, an amazing violinist, and he actually provided the strings that we're using today. This preset is called Aaron's Vibrato Group, and he also has about 30, if not more, actually I have to do the calculation, but he has about 30 plus presets, string presets that we can use inside of Octave. Next up, I took a preset that Aaron created. It's I call it popcorn just because it's these little plucks that we did, and he did it several different times, so it kind of sounds like it's spinning around you. But I find if you use strings for, let's say, the hook, this is a very complementary preset that you can actually use in the verse that'll give a lot of space for an artist to just kind of spit. So you can see it's kind of bouncing around, and that just gives so much space, especially when you have that low end bass going. It's just a really beautiful sound. The next sound we added actually isn't from Octave, it's from Scorch, but it's one of my favorite pianos. Just take a listen to this. It's this beautiful sounding soft piano, and I just love to use it. But I was able to add this to the strings to really kind of fill it out. The strings do a lot of high end, so I really wanted to bring some mid-range, and then we'll get into the bass, the 808s in a second. But the piano really fills out the mid-range. One of the effects that I love to use on my pianos is this H910. There's a couple different versions. I think Waves has a version. But basically it just kind of gives you that wooziness. The harmonizer, as you can see, it's kind of lightly going out of tune. So as you play those piano bits, it's kind of waving around. It just, again, just kind of adds to that vintage texture, vintage feel, and I just felt like it really overall fit in well with the strings. Next is that iconic Boi-1da bounce. I love how he takes old drums and kind of mixes them with new. So I got this Mario Luciano drum loop, put it in my slicer channel. As you can see, it is really granular now. So it's all sliced up, and then that way I was able to come in and actually chop apart a bunch of the different drums and fills and create something like this. Out of time, you know, but has that pss, pss, has all those kind of chops that Boi-1da would do. And then when you start layering that with the other sounds, which let me put in all the drums here for you, you start building out. A lot of the drums that I use, by the way, are from Boi-1da's. These snares and stuff are from the Boi-1da Splice kit, which you can get right now. So really building out the snares with that. Again, one of his hi-hats to bring it out. What I really love is that 1, 2, 3, which you heard in a lot of like Just Blaze and stuff like that. That's that kind of old I guess 2000s hip-hop rap, but I think it's really coming back, and something, if you're looking for trends this year, I definitely think you're gonna hear more of this. All right, now it's time for me to interrupt so I can tell you how to win this free copy of Octave. We're gonna be giving you 2 weeks to do this. All you need to do is comment Shimmy below, SHIMMY, which inspired this beat. And this is Boi-1da's favorite plugin, so if you want these sounds and you want them for free, go comment Shimmy below. You have 2 weeks from this day, and we'll be picking one of you to win a free copy of Octave. By the way, if you ever want to know where a sample came from, you can actually just drag and drop it into the sidebar here, and it will open up the kit. That way you can kind of easily get back to a kit so you can find similar sounds. Now the final piece of the puzzle when it comes to the drums is this bass line here. For me, when I get inspiration, it's really about kind of, again, decoding the records, and one of the biggest things I took away from Shimmy was that aggressive, almost like a bass line. It wasn't necessarily an 808 because it stopped, you know what I mean? It didn't sustain. So this is what I came up with, and I can kind of show you what effects I used on it. So as you can see here, I'm doing quite a few slides. If you want to get a slide, there's a couple different ways to get it. I like to just click both of these, and then you can grab a slide. So that way it gave the 1, 2, 3. It's like a bass slide coming down, like they would have done in, like, you know, the 70s and stuff like that. As far as the processing goes on this, I have the SSL. So I love the SSL. Like whenever I do bass, I usually use the SSL, and I usually always do the bass preset. I just find it brings out such good harmonics and stuff in the low end. So I constantly am using this on my drums. So now that we did the sounds and we went over the drums, the next thing to kind of recreating this track was also creating a vocal chop. I decided to go with ODB because they use ODB and they use the shimmy shimmy ya. I decided to use another section of that iconic song by ODB. So this is what I was able to do. We'll just quickly take a listen to it.
Ooh baby, ooh baby, ooh baby, I like it raw.
So I used the ooh baby, I like it raw, and I tried to put in some scratches to just kind of emulate. I could have went deep and actually did the scratches with the pitch and stuff like that, but ultimately I just kind of ran out of time. So I just quickly added these scratches, which I love from the Nami pack, and when you put this together, it works out pretty good. A little bit of echo, by the way, too. I just love using the stock fruity delay. I love actually bringing down, let me just show you exactly what I do. This fruity delay actually has a lot of different options to it. You can bring down your cutoff and you can switch your tone here. Another thing that you can do is actually play around with this modulation, which is going to affect the different kind of pitch and stuff that you can do with the delays. Another way to affect that pitch too is like if you were playing this, is to actually play with the delay time. You can kind of hear it does something very similar to a space echo. So this delay, the fruity stock delay, is actually great, and I use it on a lot of stuff.
Ooh baby, ooh baby, ooh baby, I like it raw.
The last thing I needed to do is a couple different fills, so I got some decap percussion here. Another sound that I use from Octave here is our guitar is recorded by the one and only Harag. So we got some great sounding guitars in here. Just take a listen to these. Anyway, you can do some really cool stuff with these guitars, but basically all I just wanted to do was follow the melody here. So you actually have something that sounds like this. Well, see how nice that guitar sits on top of that piano? It just sounds like they're in the room. Not a lot of EQing and stuff. Actually, there's no EQing, no effects or anything on any of the Octave instruments. This is just how warm and nasty those sounds are. They just come straight out the box like that, so you don't even need to do that work. Look how good this sounds with the guitar with the strings. That's crazy. Then when you put this all together, woo! And then finally, last little piece of the puzzle, I love to kind of organize all of my arrangements by putting in where the intro is, the hook. It just really helps me kind of visualize as I'm mapping out the sounds, and also allows me to kind of, Rick Rubin and Kanye always say this, rather than produce, reduce. It allows me to kind of take away, so you can see in sections like this on the verse, I actually stripped back the piano and the strings and just went with this kind of popcorn string. Again, so much room right there for the rapper to kind of get, you know, do whatever they want to do, and then even to kind of throw back in that vocal chop on top.
Ooh baby, ooh baby,
and the hope of something like that would be like you have obviously a skilled enough MC that they can work that in. You know, a Drake or a Kendrick or a Mine, whoever it might be, is going to be the type that can play, you know, wordplay wise off that, and you know, ultimately that's the style of this beat. So yeah, that's basically everything. As far as the master and everything goes, I'll quickly just go over what I was able to do here. I love this passive EQ. I feel people are like really sleep on this EQ. So this passive EQ, I use it on all my masters. I can't tell you how often I use this EQ and people text me after the fact and say, how is your mix so clean? And I swear I'm not doing anything than opening this up and just putting on the master preset. So to me, this is one of my favorite EQs. I like to do that. I also like to add a little bit of room. I don't know why a lot of people don't do this, and I understand obviously it can make things cloudy, but just adding a touch of room, a really small room reverb, can actually, again, melt everything together to really make it sound like all the instruments are in the same place. Again, you don't want a lot of it. I think I'm around 9 or 10% here, but again, just helping it kind of push all the sounds together to make it feel like they're in the same space. And finally, like always, the Fruity Soft Clipper. So, you know, when it comes to mastering, whenever anybody asks me what I do, this is what I do. This is why my mixes are so clean. I don't overthink it. I literally just use this one preset, and it's allowed me to kind of cut through the noise. So I'm just going to quickly show you some of my favorite sounds inside of Octave so you get a taste of what's inside the plugin. To create these sounds, we used, I think, about like $100,000 worth of analog vintage synthesizers. We did live strings, guitar. We did a bunch of different stuff to give these really warm sounds and textures. And I think that that's part of the reason why the plugin has been able to resonate with so many top producers. I think another reason why rap producers have been so supportive of what we've been doing with Software Audio is that we're from the community. The sound designers, the loop makers, the producers that we collaborate with to make these sounds, they're all from the community. So they understand the kind of sounds that producers want. And sometimes we're like, you know, we're even able to tap into talent before they kind of take off. We'll get into Aaron Paris in a second here, but you know, Aaron Paris was able to contribute strings to Octave and to Scorch before he went on to do Kanye West and Roddy Ricch and all the other amazing things that he's been able to do. So for Software, this is a chance for us to work with the community, create the sounds that they want, and then kind of be able to give it back to the rap community, which I think is just so important. At the end of the day, it was a dream of mine to be able to create a plugin, let alone a plugin that one of my idols would end up using and supporting. And as producers, I think it's super important for us to create new opportunities for ourselves. To be honest, Octave has actually gotten me in touch with bigger producers than my music ever has. It's opened so many opportunities and doors for me. So what I want to say to you today is shoot for the stars, learn those new skills, and get those ideas out there, because it's one of those ideas that could actually help you accomplish your music dreams, and you don't even know that could be the case. So go for it. Try something new, try something different. And if you're looking to try something new in your production, you should go check out Scorch. You can use the strings, like the live strings that were played by Donda 2 producer Aaron Paris in your production. You can hit the link in the description below to find out more. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get all of the updates on all of our software products and more tutorials, and I'll see you again soon.